Holiday 2020 is all we know right now regarding the release date of the new Assassin's Creed. So like October, November, it's all possible. Games don't typically release in December because then you would miss Black Friday and a ton of potential sales. But I think I got a better idea of when we can play this Viking game. And this also has to do with Watch Dogs Legion that also still needs to launch in 2020. So let's dig deep in this video and look at all the current rumors that are out there. And I of course answer one of your questions at the end as well. Episode 3 of the Your Game Show is on. A like on the video would be super appreciated. And let's go. By the way, a quick reminder, there's a new May giveaway going on right now for a 2020 game of your choice on your platform of choice. And yes, you can choose both Assassin's Creed Valhalla or Watch Dogs Legion. All you need to do is click the link in the pinned comment for a chance to win. And be sure you are a subscriber of the channel as well before you enter. So good luck, and Lee Bishop won the April giveaway and we are already in contact via the mail. So what I normally do is that when you win, I give you a code so you can pre-order an upcoming game. But you cannot pre-order Assassin's Creed Valhalla yet in the PlayStation Store. And that is because it does not have a release date. So there's a huge incentive for Ubisoft to announce the release date as soon as possible so they can already collect pre-orders. And the reason they are likely not doing this yet is because of what is going on in the world and because they likely don't know the release date either. Everyone at Ubisoft Montreal is working on this game from home, just like most, if not all, of the 14 studios that are co-developing this game with the lead team in Montreal. And pretty interesting how Ubisoft Quebec also has a team lending a hand with the Valhalla development. They were of course the lead studio on Odyssey and Syndicate, and now have a very large team on Gods and Monsters that we still only have this small E3 teaser of. And that is another game that might come out this year. Also more on that a little later. Ubisoft Barcelona, who was the lead on Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, is also helping. And we actually got a full list here on Push Square, starting out with Sofia. Likely because they have the biggest contribution again, like we saw with Origins. There they did the Serene part of the map, and also Tombs, Pyramids and Missions. And of course the Curse of the Pharaohs DLC that followed afterwards. And I would not be surprised if they were going to do a similar Mythology DLC for this game after the release as well. But yeah, when is that release? I would not be surprised if Ubisoft just doesn't want to pin down a date yet, because they are not 100% sure that they will hit it. I asked Ashraf Ismail during my interview about the work from home situation, and while he said that it's surprising how well we can all work from home, he also noted that they monitor the situation day by day and week by week. They want to deliver a very high quality polished game, so I think that if this means that they then have to move it by 1 week, they will. And that is of course more complicated to do if you already announced a date. And we see it everywhere else too, like Xbox boss Phil Spencer recently said that the Xbox Series X is still on track for this year, but the launch games are a bigger unknown factor due to complications caused by remote working. But during the trailer breakdown that the AZ Valhalla developers did on the Ubisoft channel, they were pretty confident in at least hitting the launch of the next-gen systems.
So, Assassin's Creed Valhalla will be a launch title for Xbox Series X and PS5, and it'll be out in holiday 2020 for Xbox One, PS4, PC, and Stadia.
So he basically confirms that when the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X will be available later this year, this game should be there too. So I think that likely means that Valhalla will be available before that on the current gen systems. There's a very small chance that the Xbox Series X and the PS5 will release on the same day. So a next gen version of Assassin's Creed Valhalla will at least be out on one system before the other system is available. And what if the Series X releases after the PS5? Then Valhalla will be for the first time available on the platform that doesn't have the marketing deal. Like we saw the Xbox logo at the start of the cinematic and the Series X logo actually at the end, and we'll now see the first gameplay of this game during an Xbox event on May 7th. And I will be live reacting to it as I've said before, so follow me on Twitch to notify when I go live. You find a link in the pinned comment. So either way, this makes me think that the aim right now is to have the game out before the next-gen consoles launch in likely mid-November. We saw that actually with Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag as well. That first launched on PS3 and Xbox 360, and then a few weeks later on PS4 and Xbox One. And that worked out just fine, and then you also have 2 launches for the game, when it becomes available for the first time, and when the next gen version launches, when the next gen systems are available. No, but really the big reason that Assassin's Creed Valhalla will likely release before the next gen consoles are available is Watch Dogs Legion. And I never thought that the first big blowout for an upcoming Ubisoft game would be for an unannounced title like Valhalla, because they still have 3 already announced games planned, Rainbow Six Quarantine, Gods and Monsters and Watch Dogs Legion, that all need to launch before April 2021. And actually 2 of those are still planned for October or November. And in my Far Cry 6 rumor video, and Far Cry 6 by the way planned for early 2021 it seems. Either way, in that video I showed you the LinkedIn page of Patrick Mette, who was the game director on Far Cry New Dawn, and then in January 2019 became game director on Rainbow Six Quarantine. Something he is now for 1 year and 5 months. So I find it hard to believe that that game is coming out this year, meaning it's more likely that Gods and Monsters and Watch Dogs Legion are planned for the fall alongside Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We got Martin here on Twitter asking if Ubisoft really would release both Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs in the same holiday, to which Jason Schreier responds, unless one of them is bumped because of what is going on in the world. Yeah, that is the plan. And Jason, of course, doesn't need an introduction, he knows his stuff. He also says that, as we already discussed, there's no predicting what might happen this particular year, but having 2 games for next-gen launch might serve them well. And as you likely know, Ubisoft always supports launches of new consoles a ton, like they even made a Wii U exclusive. They see it as a big opportunity, because when you buy a new system, you are usually looking for some awesome games to play on it as well, and if they have a few options already that also use the capabilities of that new hardware, then there is a chance that you would pick up a Ubisoft game that you would not have bought otherwise, and this will totally help Watch Dogs Legion. It gets more interesting though, because we also have this report from Video Game Chronicle. VGC understands at least one of the titles, Watch Dogs Legion, is currently aiming to debut alongside next-gen consoles, should there be no significant disruption to production. And yeah, debut means really released for the first time alongside the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. Like sure, the game will still be launching on PS4, Xbox One and PC. Actually, all the 5 upcoming Ubisoft games before April 2021 are cross-gen, but then the next-gen version will likely have some sort of ray tracing that we actually already saw demonstrated in Legion a while back. And not sure if you know, but the first Watch Dogs was first planned as a launch game for the PS4 and Xbox One before it got delayed to 2014. So then you would also have Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag and Watch Dogs out around the same time, around the time of the new consoles. And now 7 years later, this might actually happen with Valhalla and Legion. CD Projekt Red will go ahead with the September 17th release for Cyberpunk, and as we discussed before, Watch Dogs Legion will suffer if it launches too close to that game. It's also set in a futuristic city full of neon lights and technology, while Assassin's Creed Valhalla on the other hand can totally hold its own. If this reveal has shown anything, it's that people are hungry for a new Assassin's Creed and that the Viking era is super popular and of course completely different from what Cyberpunk is doing. So why not release Valhalla first instead of Watch Dogs? And we of course also have to remember that launching Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Watch Dogs Legion close to each other would not be smart as well, like 2 big open world Ubisoft third-person games. So that's why I think that they want to have Assassin's Creed Valhalla as early as possible in October and then Watch Dogs Legion in mid-November when the new consoles are coming out. Watch Dogs Legion doesn't seem to have an Xbox or PlayStation deal, so it doesn't matter what next-gen system releases first, and it will be brand new when that system comes out and the game releases on that same day. And the insane sales of the PS4 version and Xbox One version of GTA 5 show that people want a somewhat realistic game set in a real-world city on their newly bought next-gen system. But there are more things that point towards an October date for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. There's an art book right now on Amazon that is slated for October 1st, and normally these books release around the time of the game because they can contain spoilers of the game as well. But of course the art book could also have a placeholder date. But don't worry, there is more. Before the reveal of Valhalla, we also had this Assassin's Creed book that appeared on a German website, as YouTuber Jonathan noted on Twitter, with a release date for November 17th, 2020. Now they changed it. Likely because they weren't supposed to share the date yet. Because yeah, you will not just randomly put November 17 there without a reason, you would think, right? There must be more going on. So this is a novel about the story of Valhalla, and we actually saw one for Odyssey as well. And the German version of that book seemed to have launched 1 month after the game came out, so it might have been the case here as well. So then the November date would point to an October release window. Nice theory from Jonathan, and totally check him out, of course, for French Assassin's Creed content. I put a link to his channel in the video description. Sergio sent the Spanish YouTuber Raviti, and you'll also find a link to his channel in the video description, the following shots with an October 15th date for the Assassin's Creed Kingdoms Collector's Edition. And Kingdoms was, by the way, the code name for this game. So maybe that retailer forgot to change the date to like December 31st, that we see as a placeholder on a ton of different places, like the Epic Game Store, for example. But there's also an image of someone like buying an Assassin's Creed copy with an October 8th shipping date. So just many things point towards this early mid-October window, and that should be enough time after Cyberpunk, that is again launching on September 17th, and then also put enough time between Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs that is likely planned for mid-November. And yeah, then you have Gods and Monsters somewhere in between there, I guess. I really think for that game they will mostly focus on a Switch audience, because the art style of course looks a lot like Breath of the Wild, and Nintendo has a pretty slow year in terms of new releases from the looks of it. I still can't wait to see more of that game, because it's of course made by the Odyssey team, so it should be cool, but I think it will have a hard time if it releases around the same time as the new Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs Legion, so maybe they will push it to early 2021, might be the smartest. And who would have thought that out of the games that Ubisoft wants to launch before April 2021, that the first one we're likely going to see is the new Assassin's Creed. Ubisoft, by the way, said that they are prepared to delay games if next-gen consoles miss the launch window, but I think this only applies to Watch Dogs Legion if they indeed want to debut that with the PS5 and Xbox Series X. I really think that they will do their best to get Assassin's Creed Valhalla out in the fall no matter what, even if the consoles are delayed, although the chance of that happening is also very small. And every Sunday video I ask you to put a question down in the comments so I can then maybe answer it in the next Sunday video, and this time we got a question from Grimes on the radio. Besides the new Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs, what other games are you looking forward to? Love the videos. Thanks a lot. Well, there are actually a ton of games that I'm looking forward to, and they're all launching this year. The Last of Us Part 2 is the most imminent one. Can't wait to play that. But I'm even more curious about Ghost of Tsushima. Like, that can really be that Japan Assassin's Creed game that we always wanted. July 17th is the release date, and I really expect gameplay like any day now. So, likely this week, we'll keep an eye on that. Of course, the Avengers game looks awesome. Cyberpunk, I'm really stoked for that. But if I had to choose one, apart from like the new Assassin's Creed, I'm also really looking forward to the new Horizon. I really think that the moment Sony is going to like properly announce the PlayStation 5, we will get the trailer for that game as well, and I really can't wait to see what they will do with that series. So totally subscribe, of course, for videos on all those games and for way more content on Assassin's Creed Valhalla. A like on the video would be super appreciated. Can't wait for that gameplay reveal, but before that, I already got some other content coming your way. You can check out my previous Valhalla video by clicking on the screen on how Ubisoft is learning from the previous mistakes, and I will see you next time and also next week in the new Your Game show on Sunday here. For now, goodbye!